means so much to us to have all of you here today to celebrate 100 years for Faye. And a special thank you to all the grandchildren and nieces who have traveled long distances to be here. Willard Scott from the Today Show will sometimes announce the birthdays of centenarians. So we submitted Mom's resume. Y'all can check it out. We were hoping for a hearty mazel tov from Willard, but unfortunately we were preempted by the Olympics at Sochi. We personally think that reaching the age of 100 is more of an Olympic event and deserves primetime television. I would like to read some of the features from her resume. Hobbies and interests. Poker, family and friends, and watching the Today Show. Secrets to longevity. Eat healthy, eat an orange every day, stay out of the sun, and have a positive attitude. Other interesting facts and stories. Faye remembers her honeymoon in January of 1939. She and Herman went from Houston to Dallas on a train with a cattle car. So, while the cows were mooing, Herman was wooing.
So, she needs to stand.
So stand right.
They need
They're fine, they're fine. Yeah, stand so they get up. Oh, they're fine.
Who did that?
We're fine.
Mom, this is one of the happiest days of my life. The realization that you are 100 years old is overwhelming. Throughout the years, you have given your all to Diane, Gloria, and me to make sure we were happy. This has not gone unnoticed. There are not enough flowery adjectives or adverbs in the dictionary to express the love that all of us here have for you today. We are so very fortunate to have you reach this milestone of 100 years. It's truly a blessing. It seems like just yesterday we were planning my bar mitzvah, and in a flash, you are now officially a centenarian. You are truly an inspiration to each and every one of us. Melanie and I have always perceived you as a Southern belle. Always refined, always very friendly, always personable, always trying to do the right thing, always positive attitude. Many of you might remember a very popular TV show, Queen for a Day, back in the middle 1950s and early 1960s. Briefly, the show's format was that 4 candidates were introduced and then interviewed with some hard luck stories. The candidates would tell the host what they wanted, examples of appliances, a vacation, an extra bed, etc. And the audience chose the winner via an applause meter. The name of the host of that show was Jack Bailey. I viewed some of the episodes from that show the other day, and now I would like to recreate some of the highlights. Mom, I can hear Jack right now. Would you like to be queen for a day? Candidate number 1, Mrs. Faye Shoss, has recently spent some time at the Buckingham. The accommodations and food were not quite the same as the other franchise location in Great Britain known as the Buckingham Palace. And so Faye wants to take a trip. Right now, we will have our queen elected by our friends and relatives in the audience. Your applause for candidate number 1. I haven't finished yet.
I don't know when you're going to finish.
We'll let you know.
Hold on just a excited. Hold on, wait a second. Wait. I'm gonna have to give you a comment right now. Okay, Mrs. Faye Shoss, it looks like you're the queen. I now crown you Queen Faye, queen for a day.
Let me add one thing.
Your Majesty, Ava will now present to you the Centennial Crown. Jacob and Ethan will present the coronation of red roses.
Hold on. Next to her.
Joyce, help me see that one.
Next to her. If you can take her.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's only the beginning. We are going to remedy all that bad food you were served at the Buckingham. You already have a freezer, so we're going to fill it with one of your favorites, Melanie's world-famous turkey burgers. We have a certificate for a lifetime supply. Ava, please present the certificate. This is all yours. You have already received a new dishwasher from Diane, Gloria, and me. Congratulations. It's truly a gift fit for a queen. No dishwasher would be complete without the dishwashing detergent. Ava will now present the cascade. That's not all. Passover is coming in a couple of months, so what better way to get a head start than with your very own box of Manischewitz matzah. Ava will present to you the royal box of matzahs.
Very good. Thank you.
Too much.
We're not through yet. We're not through yet. Another surprise. Here comes the surprise we promised you. We are going to provide for you all expense paid vacation to your original honeymoon destination, Dallas, Texas. No more cattle cars for you, Your Majesty. This time you're going to be traveling first class. Melanie will be more than happy to drive you to Dallas. You don't mind staying with her Aunt Pearlie and Uncle Julius. How about that? At the conclusion of every show, Jack Bailey would always say, "We wish we could make every lady in America queen for every single day." And Mom, this is our pledge to you. Daddy always said his children, his grandchildren, and great-grandchildren were the dividends of life. These essentially were the most important things in life to you and Daddy. You can be proud to have all your dividends surrounding you right now. We want to again wish you a happy birthday, and as our new queen, it is now appropriate to quote Prince Charles of England. Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip!
Short and sweet. There was an old saying about Will Rogers. said he never met a person he didn't like. I was saying Faye's position. Anybody who ever met Faye was actually on a similar state. Anybody who ever met Faye, they met a person that Faye didn't like Faye.
That's right.
That's right.
Very good. So is it time to eat?
Does somebody want to take the cake?
Taking the cake back.
Yeah, where is it?
Don't drop it.
Gloria, don't drop her.
I know you're trying.
Hopefully everyone can hear us. We just want to say thank you again to everybody for coming from so far to join us and from near. We've got family from both coasts, from Seattle, San Francisco, New York, San Antonio, Austin, Kansas, Houston, from this house, and it's so obvious what a special day this is for all of us. I've never celebrated a 100th birthday. I don't know if anyone here has.
I'm not telling.
It's just a very momentous occasion, and it got us all thinking about what 100 years means. And so Mark did a lot of research, and we put together just a little bit of information about what life was like back in 1914 and what Grandma Faye has lived through. And I also, before we start, just wanted to give another thanks to Adrienne and Asaf for hosting.
So here we go. So Grandma Faye, I love you. You're like my grandmother. So proud to be, so honored to be a part of this day. So here are some things we found out. This is the history component of the discussion. Since you were born, there have been 17 American presidents, 21 different Texas governors, and 19 different mayors of Houston. You've been alive for 42% of American history. You were born born just before World War I broke out, lived through both World Wars, the Great Depression, the entire Cold War, plus another quarter century after the fall of the Berlin Wall. And this is what blew me. If you think about an 80-year-old that was alive when Grandma Faye was born, would have been born before the Alamo fell and when Texas was still part of Mexico. And that 80-year-old would already have been 31 years old when Lincoln was assassinated. When Faye was born, the Tsars were still ruling Russia, and the Soviet Union had not come into existence.
So I've got the United States in 1914. When Faye was born, women did not have a constitutional right to vote. The 19th Amendment guaranteeing that right was not passed until 1919. In 1914, the population of the U.S. was just under 100 million. Today, it is an estimated 317 million. Houston's population was at 78,800 in the 1910 census. Today, it is 2.1 million. When Faye was born, no Jew had ever served on the United States Supreme Court. The first one, Louis Brandeis, was appointed in 1916, and a total of 8 have served during her lifetime, including 3 on the court today. The Lincoln Memorial was dedicated a week before Faye was born, but actual construction did not begin until months later. When she was born, there was no such thing as Mother's Day. Woodrow Wilson signed a Mother's Day proclamation on May 14, 1914.
When Faye was born, Babe Ruth had not yet played a major league game. That happened on July 11, 1914 for the Red Sox when he struck out his first at bat. Wrigley Field had not yet opened. That happened on April 23, 1914. When Faye was born, the New York Yankees had never won a championship title. In fact, they weren't even called the Yankees until 1913. In Faye's lifetime, they had won 27 titles. On February 2nd, 2014, less than 3 weeks before Faye was born, Charlie Chaplin's very first movie, Making a Living, was released. It lasted all of 13 minutes. And the Texans have still not won.
Okay, so I have technology, which was just fascinating to me. When Faye was born, there had never been a radio broadcast, much less a television broadcast. There were no movies with sound, and the first feature film with sound was called The Jazz Singer, and that wasn't released until 1927. When Faye was born, there was no such thing as an electric traffic light. The first one was installed on August 5th, 1914 in Cleveland. When Faye was born, there were no antibiotics. Penicillin was not discovered until 1928. Faye was born just a little over a decade after the Wright brothers launched the first successful flight, but there were no commercial airlines. The first commercial flight took place a month before she was born, when a 25-year-old test pilot flew a plane for 23 minutes across Tampa Bay with one passenger who paid $400 at an auction for the trip. Today, 8 million people fly on nearly 100,000 flights every day. When Faye was born, there had never been a transcontinental call made in the United States. The transcontinental line was completed 4 months after she was born, on June 27, 1914, and the first call was made January 25, 1915. So very interesting little facts for you.
So we want to raise a glass.
Yes.
We want to raise a glass. We love you so much. And we're so excited. To Grandma Faye, happy birthday, and the kids are going to do a little song.
Cheers.
Your honor.
Happy birthday,
Really start.
Thank you.
bread. So if anyone else would like to say something.
I would like to say something. I just want to reiterate how thrilled we are and how happy and amazing this day is, and the fact that all of you are here. The love that is in this room is what helps to keep Mother going and keep her alive. And of course, she's the reason why all of us are here. So she's the focus and the orbit that makes it happen. But thank you so much. It is just the most touching thing, and we're going to celebrate next year and all the years to come. This is just the beginning of the celebration. I just wanted to tell Mother, thank you for bringing us I'm having a hard time measuring that song. I remember Daddy writing that song at the table, in the kitchen, with his migraine headaches, Jackie writing, not to worry, that's something we inherited. But anyway, thank you for every day of our lives having us feel like we were loved. We knew. If we walk around with smiles on our faces, you always wonder what it is. It's because every single day we knew we were loved. And not just loved, but adored, and that we could do anything, which was pretty big. You can do anything you want, and you're capable, just do it. And also giving great advice, like watching your weight and all that kind of stuff. But looking good all the time, but never interfering, never too much advice. Never was she back behind us pushing. In fact, it was just the opposite. It was, you can figure it out. We know, I trust that you'll figure it out. So thank you for all the wonderful years, and here's to more, 110.
There's one thing I wanted to mention. Actually, Faye was my favorite sister. When I was young, that's what I heard. Faye accidentally left the house. We lived on McKinney Avenue, and I don't know how she got lost and everything. And she wound up in the police station. And all of a sudden, there was a wealthy woman who happened to be at the police station. And she didn't have any children. She said to the police officer, if nobody claims her, I'll like the looks of this girl. All of a sudden, my dad came over from the police station. He heard me over there. He says, "Where's my tochter?" She got lost. I want my tochter. And that woman was very disappointed. You want to explain it?
Rolls Royce at that time.
Rolls Royce?
She didn't have any children, so we're happy to have you. Wanted to pick me up, take me home, because they couldn't find my parents.
The original Annie.
We're happy to have you with us.
You did okay.
I wouldn't have been here today. It wasn't fun.
She missed a lot. She missed a lot.
And we benefited.
That's right.
It would have been a different crowd. We're happy it worked the way it did.
Bring out the cake.
Yeah.